Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. I'd like to welcome you to my article review. I have some interesting articles I'd like to share with you. And before I do that, I'd like to let you know this is for review, informational, and educational purposes. It's not to take the credit for the intellectual property. Credit for the intellectual property goes to the publisher, which is Live Science, and the story by Stephanie Pappas, if I've pronounced her name right. Now, the article. Scientists reveal hidden math that governs how neurons cluster in the brain. You can see there's a picture here. Copyright Scott Vermlia and Scott Guthrie, Todd Golos, and Mariana Imborg. I pronounced the name right. Neuromet embryonic stem cells forming neurons. The density of neurons in the brain is governed by a fundamental mathematical function, new research finds. Discovery, which holds true across a variety of mammals, can help researchers make better computer models of the brain in the future. This distribution allows us to look at this in a statistical way and help find the relationship between neuron densities and the connectivity in the brain. Study co-author Altor Morales Guerrero, researcher at the German Scientific Institute, and I'm gonna approximate the pronunciation here. Fortune Zingtrum Julich. Morales Grogio and his colleague Alexander Van Meegen, a postdoctoral researcher at Harvard University, led this new study. It was published in July in the Journal of Cerebral Cortex. During their attempts to build models of the brain, Van Meegen told Live Science the team realized science how little about what dictated the density of neurons in the brain, while previous work had compared densities from species to species from layers of the cortex. The outer wrinkly part of the brain where there is little information about the density of nerve cells might vary within the cortex or cortical regions. The researchers combined previously collected data from mice, marmosets, macaques, humans, galagos, otherwise known as bush babies, owls, monkeys, and baboons. They found the neurons were distributed in a common pattern across all the mammals within cortical regions. The density could be described as log-nominal distribution. Okay. Now, on a graph, a log-nominal distribution is skewed to one side, with the long tail tapering off to the right. What this represents, says Meegen said, is that there are a lot of regions with average neuron densities, but few regions have much higher density. And those higher density regions may be important because they represent rare but important deviations from the norm. Well, if we only look at the mean number of neurons, maybe one doesn't see the differences, Van Meegen said. But the long tail distribution means a few changes to extreme outliers in density might make a big difference in brain connectivity or even function. The researchers also investigated why this pattern might hold across very different mammals. They found that given way neurons arise by cells dividing in a somewhat variable environment, the log-nominal distribution arises naturally without any need for regulatory processes. Well, it may originate from how the brain comes to be by cells splitting all over with a bit of noise, possibly from internal variability or changes in the environment, or variability in the environment, Morales Greggio said. This problem explains why it's everywhere. The researchers are now looking at how patterns of distribution affects how neurons communicate with one another, whether disruptions in the pattern might lead to neurological problems. So there is a video you'll be able to watch. Oops. Sorry. you'll be able to watch here. I will watch it after at the time of this recording, after I finish uploading this. By the time you watch this, of course, you'll already be able to see the video. Let's move on to our second article. Actually, I meant to put this over here. Let's talk about Elon, what Elon Musk is doing. Before I talk about the article, I'd like to let you know this is for review, informational, and educational purposes. It's not to take the credit for the intellectual property. The credit for the intellectual property goes to the publisher, which in this case is Windows Central, and the story by Dan Rice. And now to the article. Headline reads, Elon Musk X is going to take on Microsoft-owned cringe platform LinkedIn to make a hiring cool again. What you need to know. Number one, Elon Musk X is looking to take on Microsoft's own LinkedIn. Number two, he branded LinkedIn as a cringe and wants to make a competitor that is, quote, cool, unquote. This comes after the purchase of a recruitment startup Lasky earlier this year. Elon Musk thinks LinkedIn is cringe. Now we can find everything to be cringe depending on our particular taste, and many would think the same of Musk. He's trying to make X formerly known as Twitter into the everything app means it could soon be taking on Microsoft-owned platforms as its own game, all in the quest for making hiring cool again. Here you can see a video which is by default muted. At the time of that I have uploaded, at this time right now, of course I'm going to be I'm just going over the article with you. By the time of you seeing this, you'll be able to also see the video as well. I'll have the link in the description below. Unfortunately, the X/Twitter right now, the dramas surrounding the platform and its controversies from Musk himself means a lot of people have been looking around at other platforms. One of the beneficiaries of the appears to be LinkedIn. According to Nature, many academics are worried about diversity, equity, and inclusion on the platform. LinkedIn has become a new home for some of these academics as they try and keep some of the community. X Hiring recently launched to take on LinkedIn and is currently in beta, but it's also available to organizations paying $1,000 a month for gold tick verification, which obviously excludes many businesses from accessing this. Really, why is that? A business can't afford $1,000 a month? Just my 2 cents on that. This allows them to display a section of their profile pages that states that they're hiring, and it's pretty basic right now. Now it seems that it's beta, and it's going to take time for features to be added, as with anything else. This move from Elon Musk to make X and LinkedIn competitors is obviously in its infancy, but he seems serious about making X at the everything app. There's already a big push on video content and features being rolled out to compete with YouTube, maybe streaming platforms like Twitch. However, LinkedIn is a very different beast, and it will be very difficult not to crack, so let's see how it unfolds. Organizations can apply to the beta here. Now you can see a picture of in referring to LinkedIn, copyright powered by Windows Central. Elon Musk is going to take on Microsoft's own cringe, which I have in quotes, platform LinkedIn to make hiring, single quotes, cool. LinkedIn Premium members are 2.6 times more likely to get hired on LinkedIn, discover over 20 million open jobs, and explore valuable resources to help get with your search. That's what that is. Okay, now let's talk about the third article. And before I do that, And yes, I'm making these articles a little bit shorter because I'm doing 3 of these articles, and for the time it takes me to upload and do all the comments and everything, the total amount of time shouldn't be more than an hour on it. So from doing reading the articles, going through all of it, of course, uploading it, making the comments, etc. It shouldn't be more than anywhere. It shouldn't be any more than an hour, but preferably half an hour. So, for my purpose of news, it's just to tell you what's happening in the world, give you some facts, and have you come to your own conclusions. I'm not trying to read a book, so, but I need to give enough details to get you to be informed about what's happening. If you want great details about something on videos, I recommend that you take a formal course where they go into longer detail. In fact, I think because I do have various content on my channels, I'll be reducing the length of the videos. Just because I don't expect someone to unless it's my marketing one. On my the same channel I have a marketing thing that I do. I won't be doing it today, but anyway, yeah. So this I decided to actually put out these videos just as a Labor Day edition, just in case no one else is doing it. I'll be doing it. So anyway, with that said, and before I talk about the third article, I would let you know that this is for review, informational, and educational purposes. It's not to take the credit for the intellectual property, as I said before, and I've said many times before. The full credit of the intellectual property goes to the publisher, in which case, which is Reuters. Sorry, Reuters. And a story by Francesco Gerasio. Pronounced it right. If not, I do apologize. And to the article headline. Update 4. U.S. expects to upgrade Vietnam ties, risks China anger. And then it says, in quotes, in parentheses, adds China Foreign Ministry comment. Coming out of Hanoi on September 4, Reuters, which was today at the time of this recording. The United States expects to elevate its diplomatic relations with former foe Vietnam to top level when President Joe Biden travels to Hanoi in a week, in a move that may irk China. Fearful of the potential reaction from its much larger neighbor Vietnam, from much larger neighbor, Vietnam had initially expressed caution about the upgrade. That led the Biden administration to multiply efforts to persuade the Southeast Asian nation through visits of high-ranking members of the U.S. government in recent months. Unprecedented push has led Washington to expect the elevated top tier of Vietnam's diplomatic ranking, together with China and Russia, from the 2 notches below now. Biden said it publicly in July, and officials in both countries have since informally expressed optimism about the two-step upgrade, although no official statements have been released from either government. Sorry, something right in my eye here. This room here was quite dusty earlier. It's a never-ending struggle. Electronics attract dust, fans attract dust, and that's life. But you gotta keep things as clean as you can. So that's what it is. China's foreign minister calls the United States not to target, quote, a third party, unquote, when it engages with other countries in Asia. Quote, we believe that when dealing with relations with Asian countries, the United States should ban Cold War zero-sum game mentality, abide with basic norms of international relations, not target a third party, and not undermine regional peace, stability, development, and prosperity, Foreign Ministry spokesman Mao Ning told the Daily Briefing in Beijing on Monday. Perhaps seeking to assuage Beijing, Vietnam is discussing top-level visits to Hanoi after or even shortly before Biden's arrival on September 10, with officials saying China's President Xi Jinping or Premier Li Qiang could meet Vietnamese leaders in the coming days or weeks. China's foreign ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the idea of such a visit on Monday, though they did not confirm that Li, not Xi, would attend the G20 World Summit in India this Saturday and Sunday. Li will also attend the ASEAN, that's ASEAN in capital letters as the acronym, summit in Jakarta, which runs from Tuesday to Thursday. Business cooperation, they have all those letters in capital letters. Capital, so it means it's a stronger meaning. Risks that a double upgrade with Washington may not go down well with Beijing remain high, but Vietnam's communist leaders have calculated the best timing for the move. It is now a U.S. relations with China are, quote, likely to get worse in the future, unquote, said Lee Hong Hip, a senior fellow at Singapore's ICS Yusof Ishak Institute. Quote, Vietnam's economy badly needs a boost in capital, technology, and market access, says Alexander Vuving of the the Hawaii-based NOIA Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies, knowing that may be a key reason for its possible upgrade. A boost of U.S. military supplies to Hanoi may also be discussed, but no immediate deal is expected as these talks take time, keep saying. Meanwhile, Vietnam is talking with other countries to upgrade and expand its mostly Russian-made arsenal, and recently engaged in multiple high-level defense meetings with top Russian officials. Supporting Vietnam's ambitions to become a hub for the semiconductor industry is also part of Vietnam's inducements, but public funds so far available under the CHIPS Act are very limited. The U.S. may offer more, said Vu Tân Thang, head of Vietnam office of the U.S. Asian Business Council. Energy is another sector where cooperation could increase as Vietnam prepares to be a player in the liquefied natural gas or LNG and offshore wind, though administrative and funding delays are dampening the move. Well, that's the struggle of running a business. So, upgrade of relations is expected to boost U.S. firms' plans in Vietnam. Plane maker Boeing and Energy from AES may make announcements during Biden's visit. People familiar with the plans said. Boeing hopes to sell as many as 50 of its 737 MAX jets during the visit. It said the companies declined to comment. The U.S. is already Vietnam's largest market for exports, and U.S. customs procedures could be eased to boost trade. And from the U.S. Asian Business Council, says parentheses, reporting by Francisco Garcia at Free Garcia. At Free Garcia. Additional reporting by Trevor Hennecott, Con Vu, Liz V, Martin Quinn, Pollard, and Tim Heffer. Editing by Lincoln Feast, Sharon Singleton, and Allison Williams. I can tell you their cry for help is it's kind of like it's just to give my opinion on it. It's like every country that's trying to progress, right? So my opinion is it's not the U.S.'s responsibility to be propping up a country. However, there's business interest in mind, and therefore, because of that, people that's kind of like, well, to get this extra benefit, you have to do something for the country, and that's their demand. So, anyway, just my opinion, but so that's the third article here. What do you think of these three articles? First one being, scientists reveal hidden math that governs how neuron clusters in the brain. Number 2, Elon Musk X is going to take on Microsoft-owned cringe platform LinkedIn to make hiring cool again. And number 3, update 4, U.S. expects to upgrade Vietnam ties, risk China anger. Well, yes, every country has a right to make relations with whoever they want. That's another one of my opinion. I strongly believe that. I also don't believe that we should be a savior for countries that are ideologically opposite to us. So, that's my opinion. I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Is it good that the U.S. is upgrading their ties to Vietnam from a strategical standpoint, or is it just money motivated? It's not objectively best for the U.S. You're welcome to give your opinion below, and also about the other 2 articles as well. Keep in mind, there's a couple of ground rules. One, we want to keep this respectful, so uh, no insulting comments and below. Okay, we want to keep this constructive and polite. Number 2, no threatening language. Goes counter to why we even do these articles. That is not a speech only tolerated in the comments, which would, if somebody does threaten somebody, that will result in being blocked permanently. Okay, so which means you won't be able to comment, and you might as well just unsubscribe if you do that. So I'm just letting you know in advance that it's also quite illegal to, and it has no place. Remember that, as I've said so many times before, the purpose is for a constructive dialogue, which means that we're going to be adding something positive and useful to this conversation. All right, we're not doing this to make comments that don't make any sense, or not intelligent, or not polite, or especially not, and also threatening. Okay, there has to be some ground rules. You can't just It's not just a free for all. See what I'm saying? Anyway, besides those, yes, you're welcome to give your opinion if you have an opinion, and you can respectfully say it and back it up with a good reason and or data. Then fine. Now, let me back up my opinion that I stated earlier. I think because whenever you increase relations with them, I understand in this case it's strategic, but we don't want to enable a country that has opposite um, ideologies to become stronger because it goes contrary to our own values, and not just the United States, but the West itself. So that's what I think about it, and that's why I think about it the way I do. Anyway, I would like to thank you for watching this video. I'm glad I was able to do it because it is Labor Day, and wasn't originally planning to do it, but I thought, well, this might be something nice for people Labor Day. Please click like on the video, that way it will be pushed through the algorithm and more people will be able to view it and be informed about the news, as that's the purpose for doing this review. Also, if you haven't already, please click subscribe. That way you'll have access to all my content on this channel, as I do have a variety of content on this channel. And also, if you haven't already, please click the bell button. That way you'll be notified of all my future videos. I would again like to thank you for watching this video. I'd like to wish you a great day wherever you are in the world. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.